Cobra's impact on FSAs and HRAs. One of the challenges, I think, is that lots of people are often surprised that a health FSA under a cafeteria plan is a group health plan. They don't recognize it as such and oftentimes ignore it when it comes to Cobra. If they do offer the health FSA as a Cobra event, they only offer it during termination. For whatever reason, it's completely ignored when there are events such as divorce or loss of dependent status or those other types of events. So the health FSA is a group health plan. It has to be treated as a group health plan, and it's subject to all of the events. So don't forget it. And I know it may come as a surprise, and I promise not to tell anyone if you weren't doing it, because I don't know. But you definitely need to be doing it going forward. So a couple of things, though, because it is treated differently than any other health benefit that is out there. The maximum period of coverage for the health FSA generally is not 18 or 36 months. Oftentimes, it ends at the end of the plan year. And there are special rules that if the health FSA is an accepted benefit, you only have to offer Cobra to the end of the plan year. I will also make a mention because under some of the recent guidance, there is that new $500 rollover, and that has added some complexity for many employers that maybe they hadn't thought about. So I just want to talk about that too in a little bit. But the maximum coverage period, if it is a non-accepted benefit, is still 18, 29, or 36 months. So it is important for you to note as a plan administrator or plan sponsor of a healthcare FSA, whether you have an accepted benefit or a non-accepted benefit, because you need to know, are you going to offer your health FSA Cobra through the end of the plan year or for the full 18, 29, or 36 months? So how do you know? Well, if you meet certain criteria, you have an accepted benefit. And under healthcare reform, most employers, first and foremost, you have to offer a group health plan now in order to offer the healthcare FSA. So that meets the availability rule. So part of healthcare reform has fixed some of the requirements. And so under healthcare reform, let me just say this again, you have to offer a group health plan to those individuals that are being offered the healthcare FSA. Otherwise, you are going to have challenges under the healthcare reform rules, and then you have some other issues going on there. In addition, in order to have an accepted benefit, the employee, one, has to be eligible for the group health plan. It doesn't mean you have to be enrolled in the group health plan. It just means you have to be eligible for it. Because the health FSA is almost always funded by employee salary reductions, that means that there are no employer contributions going in. If that is the case and the employee is eligible for the group health plan, you have an accepted benefit. It is only when there are employer dollars going into the plan that we have to take a closer look. If the employer dollars are less than $500 or the employer dollars are a match, meaning dollar for dollar, then, again, you have an accepted benefit. Any other type of arrangement, you need to look more closely. When the employer dollars exceed $500 or when the employer dollars exceed what the employee contributes and the employer amount is over $500, then you can have a situation where you have a non-accepted benefit. And in that case, you can only have a non-accepted benefit for those individuals that are enrolled in your group health plan. Otherwise, you fail some of the healthcare reform rules. So again, you want to just very closely look at how you are contributing dollars to a healthcare FSA. So based on those rules, and based under that limited Cobra obligation, because you only have to offer Cobra to the end of the plan year, you only offer Cobra to the end of the plan year when the account is underspent, and that is as of the event date. So you look at the date that the event takes place, and you determine how many dollars have been contributed through salary reduction and employer contribution versus how many dollars have been paid out. And if more dollars have been contributed than paid out, the account is underspent. And in that case, you would offer Cobra. If more claims have been paid out than monies contributed through salary reduction, there is no obligation to offer Cobra at all. So that's the limited Cobra obligation. One of the things that I do want to talk about, though, is that if an individual would decide to take Cobra through the end of the plan year, because maybe your plan design now offers the $500 rollover, and they want to be able to take the funds that they have because it's an underspent account and have those move from this year to next year, there's a couple of things you definitely want to think about. So that health FSA, we're going to keep it open by electing Cobra through the end of the plan year. That means that rollover is now also eligible, and I can move up to $500 from this year to my next plan year. The rollover can only continue through the end of my Cobra period, which would be 18 months. So that would mean if I'm going to give you an example. Let's say on August 15th, that's when I terminate. And I pay for Cobra all the way through December 31st. That means up to $500 now can be rolled over into my 2016 plan year of unused dollars. When that happens, I can then use up that $500. If I have money left over in 2016 because I did not submit enough claims to use it up, I would be able to roll over dollars again into 2017 until February 15th. That would be the end of my 18 months of Cobra, and that would also be the end of the time in which I can submit claims. So I would have from August 15th of this year through February 15th of 2017. That would be my total of 18 months. And I would pay for just from August 15th to December 31st of Cobra, but I would all that time because of rollover. So that's where rollover and Cobra can be a little confusing. So I just wanted to bring that up. All right, Cobra and the HRA. So the HRA is also a group health plan and is also subject to all of the triggering events. And based on the fact that qualified beneficiaries are eligible to elect the HRA for Cobra, we have to recognize, again, that we have a couple of different challenges here. One is figuring out the premium. Two, when we look at the HRA, there are some new regulations under the healthcare reform rules that say a qualified beneficiary, or actually any employee, can opt out of the HRA at any time or waive. So we need to keep that in consideration as well. And so I think the two things to really keep in mind are the premium determination, which is challenging, and then how the deductible is going to be applied. So let's take a look at some of this. So calculating the premium. Unlike a health FSA where you determine the premium on an individual basis because they're all individual elections. The HRA is calculated on a specific level based on either single or family or however your insurance plans are tiered. So you're going to have a premium based just like you would your group health insurance, and it's going to basically mirror that. So you're going to have family or single. It can't equal the maximum amount. So if I am going to pay $1,000 of a $2,000 deductible, the premium is not going to equal $1,000 because generally not every single person is going to use $1,000 of that amount. You can charge the 2% administrative fee. There's two ways to use this to calculate the premium. You can use a past cost method, easy for me to say, or a future maximum reimbursement method. Most plans will use the past cost method. For some reason, I'm struggling to say that today. So let's look at that method. Let's look at an HRA that reimburses up to $2,000 of the single deductible and up to $4,000 of the family deductible. When the employer looks at the utilization for their deductible amounts, they realize that it's about 25% utilization of their HRA. So they're recognizing that, yep, we're not getting 100% utilization. It's about 25%. So based on that, we have $2,000 divided by 12 months at 25% utilization. So my premium is $41.67. Same thing with the family utilization. $4,000 is the deductible amount that we are reimbursing. There's 12 months at 25% utilization, which comes up to $83.33. So this is the past cost method. Again, this is not legal advice. This is just an example of how you might go about trying to figure out a premium, but it's based on the total utilization of the plan, not an individual utilization of the plan. So it's important to be able to look at the entire plan. When you are breaking out the HRA as well, it's also important to recognize that the HRA might have an aggregate deductible or an embedded deductible. And if you have a situation like a divorce, it can be a little challenging to figure out how you're breaking those deductible amounts out. So, for instance, in the family deductible of $4,000, it might be that one person can have to or could meet the entire $4,000 deductible. So if that happens and it was, let's say, the employee, and now there's a divorce situation, how do you go about breaking apart the HRA? Because now the ex-spouse is going to have a $2,000 deductible, but they didn't actually meet any of it, but maybe the employee met all 4,000 of it. So how does that break apart? Or in the same situation, you have the $4,000 deductible, but each person meets $2,000. It's a little easier to break that apart. So just a couple things to keep in mind. Health FSAs and HRAs can be tricky, so just be aware when you are working through them.